got in that holding area, that winner's enclosure, and just thought, where does it go from here? I think that's me, and it just built. And I always was honest to myself and said, if I wasn't fully committed, I wouldn't come, because there's two of us on that bike, and I know that Ben is 100% committed, so I didn't want to be the guy coming half cocked. So it was just a bit of a mutual thing. I rang him up, said, I'm coming up, we need to have a pint, and he was a bit like, okay, what's this about then?
A brotherly chat.
Yeah. So we sat at a beer and cried a few tears and shared some laughs, and yeah, that was it. Job done. And so many folks said, you've made the wrong decision, haven't you? You should be here, shouldn't you? I said, look, mate, when I watched the boys go away last night, I filmed them actually, and I sent it over and said, and on the end of it, I just said to myself, go on, boys, get stuck in. I was happy to see him go and do it. So that was enough for me. That says it all for me.
When's the book out?
It'd be a colouring book, wouldn't it?
Hey, but tell you what, some stories are World Championships, British Championships, TT wins. A book, hey?
Yeah, who knows? There
like
might be something in the pipeline. There might be something. Just wait for Ben to finish his story, because we'd have to do it together. We definitely would.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be like a coffee table one. It won't be like a little hardback, like a coffee table thing. Yeah, proper job.
To Stephen Davidson, he's got a few pictures.
There you are. Stevie's a good boy, and Stevie no doubt will be around the course somewhere. Got to ask you about last night. Your thoughts on the first practice session? Some great performances, of course, by your brother and the new passenger, and of course the Crow boys, Todd Ellis. Incredible. That sort of speed on the first night. That's nuts.
Some boy to do that, him and Emmanuel.
We know how good he is, though.
Well, yeah, he's a two-time world champion, British champion. We've gone hammer and top at the world championship level, for years, and he is some fierce competitor. And he's one of them lads who he's always had his eye on this place. His dad raced here for years, and he's been coming here as a kid, and he knows the crack, he knows what it is, he knows how it all works. So he's not coming to it blind. Whether he would have said 10 years ago, yes, I'm going to be a TT racer, I don't know that, but when you're growing up with it and you're a racer and you've got one eye on it, you're just taking it in. It's just subliminally going in. He's been here doing laps as a kid, and then thought, right, now's my time. I'm going to go and have a go. And Emmanuel, she's world class. She's brilliant. To learn the course and to go that fast on the first night as a passenger, hats off to her. I'm impressed, really. So we've just got to see how their story unfolds. You've just got to keep chipping away and keep the bike mint, so every time they turn up here, they come back, no breakdowns, no silly mistakes, and just keep putting laps in.
You say about people, families and stuff, that's what the sidecar is all about. Of course, John Holden's young fella, George, was supposed to be here this year, but next year he's going to be coming. And again, the Holden name will continue on the Isle of Man. So that's 3 generations, isn't it, with those guys, I think, as well. It just goes on with you sidecar guys, doesn't it? Think of the Biggs, you think of the Brindleys in the past, you've got the Hankses, goodness me.
Yeah, it's huge, and it is a big family. Yeah. It's a big family effort, and then that just gets passed on.
Founds?
With the founders, yeah, there's about 52 founders down there, isn't there? Yeah, same with me and Ben. He decided, right, I'm going to go sidecar racing, and immediately my head were turned. I'm like, oh, that's what we're doing.
What did you do before? You solo? Or?
Nothing, no.
Okay.
Desperate to race a Aprilia RS 125 when I was growing up, but by that time, Ben was thinking about going passengering. So as soon as he did that was it. We went away watching him, helping him, and then that's your path then, isn't it? Big brother's doing that. I want to do that as well.
What were your thoughts last night? I know you said you videoed and you sent it to our kid, and you were saying, go on, though. One little piece of you maybe in the back of your mind as you've seen your brother go down the line, think, yeah, was it there or was it not?
Long pause.
Listen, pause is fine. Don't worry about that.
When I saw that, no, I thought, good lad, get on. Go and enjoy that course and enjoy your riding. Come race day, I think I might, have a bit of a tear in my eye and think, because I'm still a competitive bloke, and when you actually get up there and you get all this buzz going on, how can you not want to be involved in that once you've done it? But for now, and as it is, I'm happy, and to be part of this team and the commentary team, and still involved in the TT. When Paul Phillips gave me a shout and said, when you all the retirement stuff comes out and we do the press release and the media stuff, hang on, because I might have a bit of a job for you. and it transpired into this, and I'm dead grateful for them, because to be sat on the sidelines and just sort of milling about, I'd have found that difficult. Now I've got some good focus and a proper job, and I have to be here on time and all that kind of thing. And it's just like easing me into something new.
Yeah, nice.
Which is, you become institutionalized doing this job. You train, you ride, you prepare, you fix it, you train, you ride, goes on like that. So when you do step away from it, you are like wandering around in circles. Right, what do I do now? I'll go to the pub. You know, you need some drive.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're going to make our way up to the grid now because the numbers 1 to 20 are making them up for the first practice session. Beth's going to go over there actually and speak to one of the new travelling marshals, a very, very integral part of the Isle of Man. If you've not been here before and you wonder what the blokes are that have the yellow jackets on with the M on the back, they are travelling marshals. Beth Espy, to you.
Well, yes, and here is a face that's very familiar to the TT course. Richard Wilson, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Quite nervous.
So, last year, we obviously saw you racing on the course. This year, you are a travelling marshal. Travelling marshals also have to have been successful racers. How did you get into it?
I just expressed my interest to Tony, who's the boss of us all, and we sort of had a bit of a chat about things, and it kind of went from there. Really, just progressed over winter.
And there's a lot of training that goes into it. It's a really close bunch of people.
Yeah, very close bunch of people, but the 7 that were already doing it have really welcomed us in, been really helpful. Lots of WhatsApps, lots of answering questions, lots of me fretting and firing questions at them, and they've been brilliant, really. So real privilege to be doing it. And then I went to Woody's the other day and picked up the jacket, and it was like a little surreal moment where you catch yourself a little reflection in the window and you've got your M jacket on it. Yeah, it's a privilege, really.
You must feel like one of the coolest people out there.
No. You might see him on radio, but if you could see me in real life, you think, oh, God, don't trust that guy.
And we are obviously only on day 2 of practice, but yesterday went okay for you?
Yeah, fortunately, everyone had a nice, steady run round, and I think I was the only one. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and there's just constant radio information and same in your job. But I had a couple of standby moments, so heart rate went up and then stand down, fortunately. So exactly what you want really for your first session, and just hope everyone keep the pit limiters on all the way around the circuit. No incidents, nice steady. No one goes over 60 kilometers an hour. We'll be fine.
And just what number bike are you on?
What bike?
Are you on a bike?
I hope, number 8. Yeah.
Number 8, brilliant. Hope you have a good fortnight. We'll catch up with you again soon.
Cheers, thank you.
Just take it back a second. A message from Race Control that there are parked vehicles in Ramsey. We're not sure where in Ramsey. There are parked vehicles in Ramsey that need to be moved. If they can, please. A black Hyundai i10 at the Ramsey bus station, we're now being told. Registration Victor November 463 kilo. If you own a black Hyundai i10 parked anywhere near the Ramsey bus station, that needs to be moved, please. At the moment, we are still set for a 6:30 start, but obviously that will need to be attended to before we can get underway. Once we do get underway, there is due to be a Superbike and Super Stock session. So it's the big bikes out first, 6:30 through till 7:15. Then at 7:20 through till 8:05, a Super Sport and Super Twin session. And then from 8:10, the sidecars. The weather forecast, we heard it in the news, but we'll just repeat it. Generally dry now with brighter sunny intervals. Still the risk of some showers developing this evening, however, and there's certainly increasing cloud as we look out over the hills from up here in the Grandstand Tower. A light to moderate southwest winds that will be a westerly throughout the evening, a minimum temperature of 10 degrees. So it's that car, crucially, that we need moving from the Ramsey bus station, please. A black Hyundai i10, Victor November 463 kilo. Let's hope that's moved and we get underway on time, Chris.
Yeah, let's hope so. We're just hearing some more information from Race Control there as well. I was just speaking to, they've been told to stop engines now so they can hear exactly what it says. I've just been talking to Tom Birchall here as well, and we looked at this, didn't we? This looks proper factory, doesn't it? It looks proper neat and tidy up here, doesn't it?
Oh, mate, it's such a refreshing change to see it like this. It reminds me, it's like a Le Mans start, isn't it? You know, but without the running. You won't catch John McGuinness running to his bike, would you? He'd be last away.
Need a defib or something.
But no, it looks proper. It's just the vision of the TT organisers. They're just bringing it on, and it's going to look great on the cameras, that's for sure. Tidy, clean, you know, and then they clear off the people who don't need to be here, and it's just a rider and 2 mechanics, I believe. Is it 2 or 3?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's just the right way to do it, proper.
Certainly is. All right, listen, Beth joined us here now as well. Beth, they're ready to go. Everybody's looking. We're just having a little look at the people we didn't speak to last night. We didn't get to speak to Josh Brooks. I don't think he was in the mood to speak when he came back after having that screen completely obliterated by that duck, seagull, or whatever it was, pheasant, who knows what it could have been, a dodo bird, who knows, but it was definitely a bit smashed up. We haven't spoke to Phil Crow. He was going really well in the Superstar, wasn't he? Jenny Timmins showing well, but how about that last night? James Hines showing well, Baz Ferber showing well, Privateers.
Yeah, it's great to see, isn't it? Obviously, everyone's done loads and loads of prep for this, and they're all keen to get going. And there's a few, showing their skills already, which is great to see. It's great to have a few different names up there that we potentially don't always look out for.
Who have you been talking to today? You've obviously been around the paddock when you got out of bed.
We eventually got out of bed.
Lucky you. Anyway, listen, who have you been talking to? What's been the feel of the people that you talk to?
I think everybody's mostly just been so happy with yesterday. Everyone's got in loads of laps, and everybody's so much more relaxed. Just to get those few laps under their belts, and just to get a run out on all of the bikes, and just get through any issues that they've come up with straight away. Everybody just seems so much more settled tonight. You can kind of feel it, can't you? Here, stood on the road now, everybody feels quite a lot more relaxed tonight.
I was talking to Miko Sweeney earlier on. Obviously, Miko's still recovering from those injuries he had at the Northwest last year, and he said he did 7 laps yesterday, and he said he felt like he's been run over by a bus.
I was
Beth?
talking to Dave Rigby again earlier as well, and the physicality of this, I don't think you can underestimate. He was saying his muscles were really sore. He also had to push his bike up the return lane after doing 6 laps as well last night, which I don't think did those muscles any good at all.
Certainly wouldn't be happy with that. Dave Rigby, also known as Ryland, isn't he? I think, is that right? Is that right? I've no idea. Jamie Coward, how are you?
I'm all right, yeah, you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm grand. Not warm, is it?
Pretty cold now. It's just dropped, hasn't it, with this bit of cloud coming over. Looks, to me, as a Yorkshireman, it looks like there's a bit of rain on the horizon, but what do I know, eh?
127 a bit last night. Happy enough for that? What's the plan tonight?
Yeah, happy enough. It just, it's really strange. I said this to someone else earlier, but the bike, as what I rode it last year, the suspension was set up as it was last year, and we did 132 mile an hour lap last year, and it's trying to not kill me, but it's just not handling nicely, should we say. So we made a bit of a change to that tonight. We made an alteration last night during the practice, and it seemed to go in the right direction, so we made a change. So we'll see. We'll just get out there, see what conditions like, and we can try the change in the dry sections all the way it's going to be, or better, should we say.
All right, Jamie Coward, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Cheers, bud.
I'm with Dean Harrison here. Dean, when can we claim you as our own here on the Isle of Man now you're over here?
What's that? I didn't know what you said.
When can we claim you as Manx now?
Oh, I'll take it from now if you want. No, I'm over it. I've only got a few miles to travel to the paddock, so it's not too bad. It's nice to go home at night and get a bit of peace and quiet.
I bet it is quite different though, that.
Yeah, it's quite nice to get out of the way, and there's not like sleeping in your own bed, which is always nice. But no, it's been really good, to be honest. I can't complain at all.
And getting more and more used then to the Manx weather. And we were just saying when we woke up this morning, we didn't think we'd be here tonight.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, I'll look at the weather early, and because we got quite a lot of rain through the day today, and I'm thinking yesterday were dry through the day, and there were a lot of damp patches about. So I'm just interested to see how tonight's going to unfold with the difference in the weather. So we'll wait and see.
And what's the general plan?
A few lots of super. I made quite a lot of change tonight. Last night I was a little bit standoffish with the weather. I'm not a massive lover of damp patches, I'm not going to lie to you. It wasn't too bad. You sort of have to pick your way through, figure out where they are. And I think they'll be in the similar places today. I can't see that they've changed, so I've got a good idea what to expect. So a few changes to the bike, and then just try and get a feel for it.
Thanks for talking to us, Dean.
Cheers, thank you very much.
123.856 for Josh Brooks last night. We'll maybe just get through the puddles on the other side of the road. Sorry, Chief, just speaking. And Josh, lovely to see you back on our island again. Interesting evening last night for you.
Yeah, it was the same as everybody, just getting your eyes up to speed to be able to absorb all the information. I actually felt quite comfortable. The year before was after 5 years away, and only 12 months separating the last visit. So that was a lot easier on me, but it's still all the same processes you got to go through. Feel your way around the track, get comfortable with the machine underneath you, get comfortable with the corners and, the places to brake and which gear to be in. And, the early laps when you're not going at the right speed, everything feels wrong. The suspension doesn't work the way it should. You're in the wrong gear and everything feels like alien, but you've got to kind of adjust everything on the bike to suit you at slow speed. And then as you increase your speed and get quicker and quicker, pretty much put the bike back where it probably was. But like I said, we've all got to go through that process.
So we'll do the bird strike then.
Yeah, that wasn't ideal. It was the last lap I was going to do of the evening anyway. I'd kind of got to a point where I'd had enough. I was just a bit mentally drained. I think this year, particularly because riding so many different bikes, so I've got to get used to the Super Sport and the Super Twin and then the Super Stock and the Super Bike, and each bike has its own gear pattern and power delivery and corner entry speeds and stuff vary. So it was far more for me to kind of mentally deal with. So I kind of got to the point where I was like, oh, I'll do this one lap and then that'll probably be me done. And I literally got, a couple hundred meters into the lap, and just at the top of Bray Hill, I struck a bird. Fortunately, it hit the bike screen first before it hit me in the head. That must have took a little bit of the inertia out of the impact, but it was still a decent hit to the head. It sort of rang me bell a little bit. And but the worst part was the vision on my visor was completely obscured by all the blood. And
the sun was low, wasn't it, too?
Yeah, well, yeah, the sun as well. But the main thing was I couldn't see through my visor. It was like driving on the motorway in rain without the wipers going. But it was red rain, not clear stuff. So the next problem was trying to pull the tear off. Obviously we got the tear offs to pull and give us clear vision from the flies and different things about. But at this moment, I was trying to pull the tear off, but the blood was making it slippery. So I was trying to pull the little plastic tab, but my hands kept slipping off of it. So I was desperately trying to guess my way down Bray Hill at the speed that I was doing, and then fortunately got the tear off and cleared my vision. And then I had the rest of the lap to do with a busted screen. And I know for people watching at home, think, well, it's just a little screen. It doesn't impact the bike too much, but the bike certainly probably isn't too bothered by it. But us riders really have a lot of protection from the screen, and having that broken, I was just feeling the full force of the wind, and it just makes it really difficult to stay in your correct position and concentrate, because you're fighting that buffering wind the whole way around. So anyway, that's behind me now. We'll focus on trying to get a smooth run this evening and try and build some confidence.
Thanks for the story. Good stuff, Josh Brooks. Good luck tonight.
No problem. Thank you.
Cheers.
Well, I'm just here with Dave O'Johnson. And David, we've been talking to some people about the physicality of getting back out there, getting used to the TT course again. How are you finding that?
It was better than expected yesterday. It's you might not look it, but I've been training a bit. But I've pretty much most days I've been because my boss, he yelled at me if I didn't, which is sort of good. But I felt really, really good yesterday. Just a standard muscle soreness in my neck as well, which people don't understand how much your neck cops it in the wind. Like, everybody was saying the same thing. So, and it was really windy over the mountain. It was headwind, mountain mile, and your head was bobbing about everywhere. But I felt really good. I was surprised and happy as well.
So how do you spend a day like today then, when you're not sure whether practice is going to go ahead because of the weather and you have to kind of get ready and be half ready? What do you do?
Well, people that know me won't be surprised that I was in bed till 11 a.m. But I was watching TT stuff on TV and just relaxed really, and like doing stretches and that, because your groin, I was doing a lot of groin stretches. Last year I didn't do that many groin stretches. If you sort of forget that, your inner leg gets so sore. So I was doing a lot of that whilst in bed. It was the easiest place for it. But just relaxing, and then I came up expecting it was going to be called off, to be fair. But so I'm pretty surprised that it's gone ahead. But I think there's going to be a fair few damp patches.
So what are you hoping for tonight then?
Just build on yesterday with the setup, because the super stock was good out the box. Super bike felt good as well. I was on a good lap. That didn't work out. There's some riders in the way, but so I just cruised and aborted the lap. But there's some things that we found, so we're fixing that. Some big changes. So just sort of keep the ball rolling, keep improving, and that's about all we can hope for.
And team pretty happy?
Yeah, they were stoked yesterday, and I mean we all were. It's the best start that I've had for a TT for a long time, and the team's best ever first day. So can't complain.
Hope you have a good night, David.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Yeah, thank you very much, David Johnson. Nice to get the story from David. We're going to maybe jump in and have a word with my old mate, Dominic Herbertson, if we can. Dom, how are you, Bonnie lad? 127 and a bit on the stocker last night. Happy with that?
Yeah, well, I found that famous shortcut that all these Hickmans and Dunlops have been doing. So I just got down Silver Straight, turned right and went over the mountain that way. But don't tell anyone, young'un. Don't tell anyone.
We will tell nobody. You're not talking to anybody. What's the plan tonight, Dominic Herbertson?
Don't know. There's a lot of thought process there. It's obviously it's been damp along the bottom and it's starting to dry up, but it's like the edge of the road that's going to hold all the moisture. But don't get us wrong. Once we get all the heat in the tires, I think everyone will forget about what's been happening with the weather concerned and be able to get their head down, arse up, and go for it. Bite the screen a little.
Right, the screen, I like that. Dom Herbson, good luck.
Cheers, man.
Thanks, buddy. Cheers. Just going to bring Tom Birchall in. It's that conversation with Josh Brooks saying when he hit the bird, you've got some information about that as well to top in.
Yeah, I was just chatting to Mark Woodage there, his crew chief engineer, and the data says when he hit that bird, he were doing 160 mile an hour. I mean, that's not messing about. That's going to hurt, isn't it? It's going to come keen, that. And he went for a tear off as quick as he could, obviously, but couldn't quite get hold of it and found himself really close to a curb. So, it rattled him for half a lap, as understandably it would. But he's a fighter, and he'll come out and have a go again tonight, won't he?
Because we've all been riding a bike. Jenny will bring us in on this as well. When you get a little sparrow or something hit you, or even a bumblebee hitting you 140, 150 mile an hour, that's compared to what you do, Jen, and stuff, it hurts. And that thing's glanced off the screen, glanced off his head, and like you said, it gave his head a bit of a rattle.
Yeah, it will do, won't it, at that speed? Bird's pretty light, but when you're hitting it at 180 mile an hour, it's going to hurt. So it'd be a bit of a shock to the system as well, wouldn't it, when you hit something at that speed?
Remember the year Hutchie hit the bird down there as well. That was near enough where that happened. Let's get back to Chris Boyd, maybe some information for us in the tower.
Yeah, we're waiting. Obviously, we are delayed. Obviously, we're now past 6:30 and we have not got underway. But as we look out from here down the valley towards Peel, we can see that it looks like rain is falling out of the cloud lead, doesn't it? It looks like to be that way. We are getting messages that there may be some light spots falling out at Ballacrane type direction.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see out past your 15 computer screens here that are in my eye line. But yeah, it does unfortunately look like there's rain on the horizon. So yeah, it's frustrating that for the riders, especially. We could be wrong, maybe it'll not, maybe it'll blow over, but yeah, the guys are already up on the grid, everybody's warmed up, ready for action. So hopefully we're wrong.
I've just pulled up the rainfall radar, which Chris Kinley will laugh about because he always used to laugh about me doing this, and there is a shower showing right on Ballacrane and out on the west of the island from there. Peel across to Ballacrane, maybe down as far as Round Table for those that know the geography of the island, a shower in that kind of area at the moment. So we'll just have to play it by ear tonight. I think we weren't sure we were going to get anything away, in all fairness, when we looked earlier in the day, were we?
Yeah, obviously it's been horrendously bad weather this morning, right up to probably 2 o'clock. Was it 2 o'clock? So yeah, for the roads to be as dry as they are right now, where we're sat, and the effort the guys have gone to get everybody up there, and looks like there's going to get some action. It's just frustrating for the fans as well that they've made the effort to get out, and especially anybody that's up around the mountain and places like that they're stuck up there. So hopefully it would be nice to get some bikes away.
Absolutely. I spoke to Connor Cummins about an hour ago down here in the pit lane. And he said to me, there's getting laps under your belt and there's getting worthwhile laps under your belt.
Yeah, that's a very good fact. It's different for different riders. Obviously, people like Connor, all the guys in the top 10, top 15, they're here to improve their bike, improve the chassis, improve lines, little details that if you're not absolutely committed and on the point, then there's no point in being out there. But for slightly slower riders, then it's more beneficial. But then on the other hand, it's more risk because we don't want damp patches and things like that. So it's a double-edged sword, really.
Yeah, indeed. The newcomers are the ones who we want to get laps on the board, and the guys moving up from the Manx Grand Prix to the TT. They're the guys who we really want to see get laps on the board. But again, for them, laps in these kind of conditions are perhaps not the most beneficial laps.
No, I think when we look back to last year, I think if there was never going to be another fastest newcomer, last year was probably the best chance for that. There was no rain at any point for the period of 2 weeks, I don't believe, and that's what you want as a newcomer. When you come here, that's what you dream of. But unfortunately, this is all part of the whole obstacle of the TT when you come, and and even the pressures of waiting, like for the newcomers yesterday, getting held back for that extra 4 hours, that is not a nice feeling for anybody in any job position. But when it's your first time to go around the Isle of Man TT, it's very, very stressful.
Absolutely. Well, if we do get any action, the man who will be giving them the tap on the shoulder is Mark Pendlebury, and he's with Beth.
He certainly is. And Mark, I think we said this last year, that you are the man with all the power, aren't you?
In the right hand, or sometimes the left if it's a sidecar.
What is it that you say to people in their ear just as they're about to head off?
Generally, I don't say an awful lot to the guys. When they first come to the grid, they get a 1 minute warning, they get a 30-second warning, they get 10 seconds. And that's the indications I give. And then we're on to tap away then from the start of it. So the only time I might speak to anybody, or especially David, who acts as my number two, would be if in the racing, there's in the lineup, there's breaks in the lineup, there's people missing from that lineup, because that then alters the time. So they're not as much of a rush to get to the front line. They might have 10 or 20 seconds extra. So that's the only time we really have any conversation. Yeah.
And have you got constant information coming in your headphones?
Not really, no. I pick up what's coming from the tower. So if for some reason we had to stop it, I'd know I'd have to stop it straight away. The rest of it really comes from practices, from watching the timing box where the green light is, and they indicate to me when I can release the next rider, in effect.
So you've been doing this for how many years now?
Well, in total, I've probably been, I think it was 2008 or something similar when I first got involved up here. And I was acting as number 2 to Paul Kermode, of course, you'll remember, who's a long-standing person that did this role. Unfortunately, he retired a couple of years ago, and I was asked to take it on. So I'm now taking the number 1 spot, really, yeah.
Did you have to think about it much?
Not really, no. It's a privilege, really, isn't it? You know, I mean, where else could you get a job like this? I think everybody else wants it as well.
And I did ask you if you ever fancied, having a go round on a bike, perhaps as a sidecar passenger yourself.
Absolutely not.
That says it all. Mark Pendlebury, thank you so much.
No problem. Cheers.
Yeah, great to see you hear the thoughts of Mark Pendlebury. Let's get the thoughts now of Sean Anderson. He's off at number 18 on the KH Hire Tool and Plant Hire machine. In fact, he's on the big Suzuki this time as well. We'll grab him if we can. Sorry, Sean. Good evening.
Good evening.
How's the form?
I'm all right. I'm still I was maybe a wee bit over ambitious on the first night, because everybody assured me that the sun wouldn't shine today in the Isle of Man, but it sort of arrived a wee bit late to the paddock, but we're here. So 10 laps in yesterday, the body's feeling it, bit of a shock to the system, but happy here, smiling, ready to go.
10 laps. How does your body deal with that? I mean, what? Just explain to the listeners out there, around the hedges, around the world, what is hurting on Sean Anderson?
Well, 10 laps, so 370 miles, 600 kilometers, like in the space of sort of 3 hours riding. I think you'd be brave to say that you wouldn't be hurting. I don't know what sort of athlete you would be to say you're not hurting after that. It's all the sort of wee things, the neck from the speed, the wind on the helmet just pushing on you, a bit in the lower back, the old hip mobility at my age, I'm getting on these days, and a wee bit in like the sort of the traps and just that upper body from working the bars, especially the big bike laps. They always take the most out of you around here.
What's the changes to tonight, Sean?
Yeah, just the Suzuki, the Team Classic Suzuki big bike. We obviously had it here last year. This place changes so much year to year, but just like wee tiny tweaks on it, nothing particular special. The Fireblade for the stock race, that was really our first real run in anger on it. I did a couple of days at a track, but you don't really find out what's going on until you're out here. So the KHR one, with some bigger changes on that, like just soften it up. The track, I would say, maybe a wee bit bumpier than last year. So I was having the lining kicked out of me a wee bit. So just trying to find a wee bit more compliance. I think everybody complains about that the first couple of nights, that they just, I forgot how bumpy it was and all this. And then you toughen up as you go along during the week. And then the Super Sport, a gearing change. We're a wee bit overgeared, then undergeared. So I'm hoping tonight we get the Mama Bear's porridge that is just right. So we'll wait and see.
All right, Sean, thanks for your time. Cheers.
Cheers, Chris.
Well, I'm just here now with Connor Cummins. And Connor, I was talking to newcomer Dave Rigby, newcomer to the TT, a little bit earlier. And he said last night, you came up behind you, you sort of tapped your seat and said, follow me over the mountain. How important is it, as somebody who's got so much experience, to just guide the newcomers a little bit?
Well, I know Dave anyway from old, and I had a problem early in the lap, so I was going at a reasonable pace, but I was pulling in, but I clocked him. He was on the track. I just thought, well, thinking back to when I was a newcomer, or first time at the TT, I thought it'd be nice if I got a pull around from someone. So, yeah, I just thought I'd do it.
You, more than anyone then, used to the Manx weather. We're obviously sort of sitting here waiting to see what's going to happen at the moment. How do you spend a day like this?
Well, I spent most of it in bed, to be honest. Just thinking, I thought the rain was just going to continue all through the day, and true to form, the Isle of Man weather's just turned around, and it's incredible. But I think it's going to be a bit damp around the track anyway, so I think we're going to have to be a bit careful.
How tough do you find it sitting here waiting near the start line?
Oh, it's not an issue. I've done this enough times now. I'm just focused on the job in hand, and I want to get some good solid laps under my belt tonight and try and dial the bikes in some more.
Brilliant. Well, have a good evening, Connor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Connor, as well. Let's speak to Michael Rutter. If I call you a veteran, is that being harsh, or just we're the same age?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's been here coming here a few years, haven't I? So it feels like it.
How was last night? First night back on the roads here.
Really good actually. Enjoyed it. I had a few issues, which normal Isle of Man things to just throw up. But yeah, overall it was a good night. Sun was real bad last night. Very glary and hard to pick out curbs and usual places. But yeah, it was. I quite enjoyed it.
Big bike tonight. First off, then, any changes made?
Yeah, we've been having a few issues with it for the last Northwest and that. We had to kind of run it on the bottom injectors, and we couldn't get the top injectors to work properly. So hopefully we got it right. We went off yesterday, and it starts slowing up every lap. So yeah, we've done a few alterations, and hopefully it's right.
You said you've been here a long time, kind of like John. John's a big 250 man. You love your older bikes as well. Do you understand all this new technology? Do you get it?
No, I hate it. Honestly, it's, I've got my XR69 Suzuki, the Batham's bike back at home, and it's got carburetors on, and they're so nice you can hear them, and it's easy to adjust them, and so yeah, it's these things are brilliant when they work, but when they don't, it's a nightmare.
Michael, thanks for your time. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Good luck for this evening. Beth, did you pick up anything on there, Beth, at all? Just missed that.
I didn't actually. Sorry, no, I was having another conversation, but I'm here now with John McGuinness. And John, how are you feeling? I was wondering, you are probably at the moment one of the most famous people on the Isle of Man. Do you get mobbed everywhere you go?
I'm not one of the most famous people. I'm just a brickie. I ride a bike fast now and again. Yeah, it's busy. Yeah, it's nice. But it's been busy today. I've been doing a few interviews and bits and pieces, and kids, families from all over the world are here already. So yeah, you need a minute or two to speak to them guys, and I've made a lot of effort and spent a few quid to get here. So yeah, but it's quite humbling at times. But I don't think that. I'm just an happy northerner to be riding his motorbike around the Isle of Man.
But a happy northerner who's taking it very seriously. If we think about the Northwest, there definitely seems to be something in your eyes. Are you gunning for something this year?
Yeah, I just want to do a good job. I mean, I really, really enjoy riding my bike, and the last couple of years I've done okay, but I think I could do better. So I don't put a lot of effort in this year. We've done a lot of testing and riding. Been to Portugal twice, been to Spain twice, done a couple of BSB rounds, and went to the launch of the 2024 Fireblade, did 1,200 miles. So I know I've got a bit of a pop belly and I get a bit of stick for it, but in my head's really dialed in, and I'm pretty bike fit. So yeah, and the bike's good this year. The 2024 Blade's a little step forward. Boys have been working really hard. They've had a lot on as well with BSB, and it's a huge team now. But yeah, we're ready to go. Feeling a bit of pressure. Number one again. I said, they said, do you want to go number one? I went, yeah, no problem. But as soon as I said it, I thought, oh no, they're all going to be tracking me down. But a lot of responsibility with a big number one plate on. But no matter what happens, at least I get on the telly at number one, even if I'm rubbish.
You certainly will. And will you be getting any more tattoos this year?
Maybe, yeah. The wife's had one today, actually. And I said to my boss, Harvey Beltran, and he's slightly welching on the deal, but we had a deal. If we got on the podium at the Northwest, he'd have a tattoo. So he's slightly spitting a little bit at the minute. So we're on a double or quits job. So if I get on the podium here again, he's got to have 2 tattoos. So we'll hold him to that one, won't we?
We certainly will. John McGuinness, thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Hang on, Beth. What did he say? If he gets back in the podium down here, he would run down Strand Street naked? Wasn't that what
I wasn't
he said?
going to mention the running down the street naked again, but Chris Kinley is keen to see it, apparently, John.
Well, I don't mind, yeah. I mean, it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be probably a night in the cell, but I've got a deal with my little brother, Kurt, and yeah, he said it's going to happen if I get on the podium, but I don't know when and where, but maybe not announce where and when on social media and that, but there'll be a picture of it somewhere if you've got a long lens on your camera to find mine.
We'll let Chris Kinney know. Thanks, John.
Oh, dear me. Tom Birchall's with us as well. Listen, I've got to ask you, you heard what the clerk of the course had just said here. I was talking to Michael Rutter. What was he saying?
It looks like the marshals are just going to start relaying some information about weather, and it's a sort of like the final movement of the marshals. It looks like it's causing a few delays. Further updates are due shortly, but yeah, it's one of them, and it's the TT and the Isle of Man climate throws these things at you sometimes. But hopefully they do get away. But when they do get away, we did have a lot of rain, didn't we, overnight and this morning? So it's still going to be sort of running in off the gutters, and like we saw last night going up Glen Ellen there was still a fair bit of water on the track. So they know what to look for, which is a good thing. It won't be a surprise to them, but it's not ideal conditions, we'll say that.
All right, thanks very much for that. Back to the tower, Chris Boyd.
Yeah, it was really just to relay what Tom's just said there, race controller, just assessing conditions and checking with marshals and things to make sure that we are good to go. Because obviously, Lee, putting out the big bikes first, super bikes and super stocks, we need to be absolutely sure that it's safe conditions.
Yeah, I think we're fall into the trap sometimes of saying, the big bikes are more dangerous than anything. But any bike in them conditions now, with the speed of modern bikes, there's nothing slow, is there? So thankfully, we've got really good marshals and everybody around the course relaying the information back. And yeah, it will go if it's safe to go. And if it's not safe to go, unfortunately, for the viewers out on track, they won't get to see any bikes.
Hopefully we will. If you was down there on the grid now, would you be keen to go, or would you be thinking I might just leave it for tonight?
When I'm sitting here, I'd say I'd be really, really keen to go. So it makes no difference. But yeah, it's hard. You want, like what we spoke about earlier, that it's only beneficial if you're getting laps you're learning from, and when you're at sort of the level of being closer to the front, you need to be good conditions to push the bike, whether it be a new bike you're trying to test or something you want to change from last night. It has to be like for like conditions. So it's sort of a little bit pointless in you're trying to make a change and commit to that change if the conditions aren't the same. So for some of the guys, it'll be beneficial, especially for the newcomers. They'll be sitting there absolutely chomping at the bit, wanting to get out on track. But for some of the top guys, obviously looking at Peter Hickman and stuff on the screen right now, they will not be so bothered, especially the guys that are on the same team with the same bike. So obviously, yeah, Hickman, John McGuinness, people like that. I know they're on the new Fireblade, but it's not that different to the old bike. So they're pretty comfortable in what way they're going to run.
Would it be a case of go out, do a lap, assess conditions, and then see where you can push on and test things, or is it too sketchy to do that kind of thing on a 37.73 mile course?
Yeah, I think we've all got enough trust in Gary and the team now to know that if he says we're going, it's good enough to go. So the guys are smart enough, and we all know the damp patch. Even me that doesn't know the name of all the corners, I know where all the damp patches usually are. Especially the guys say there's been a shower, or say if it's in Ramsey or different areas on the track. So we've all got enough knowledge. But then on the other hand, the newcomers, maybe the guys that haven't done the Manx especially, that's where they're a big downfall of information. So yeah, there's a lot of variables in this, and luckily the team here, their number one priority is always the safety of the riders.
Well, they've made their decision. We're going to go at 18:55, so around about 7 minutes to the start of this Superbike and Superstock session, the start of qualifying 2 at TT 2024. We will take a very quick break, and then we'll be back with all the build-up.
1, 2, 3 wheeling. Threewheeling.media, official title sponsor and Sidecar TT media partner for the Isle of Man TT Sidecar races. With over 1.5 million social media followers and daily content updates, Threewheeling.media promotes and unites all classes of sidecar racing around the world. Threewheeling is the world's leading sidecar racing media connection. Get connected via Threewheeling.media. By the sport, for the sport.
Passionate about your bike? Then we're passionate about getting you the right bike insurance at Entire Cover Insurance. No matter if you ride a classic motorbike or a cruiser, we could get you quotes from some of the UK's leading insurance providers in minutes. If you're lucky enough to have more than one bike, Entire Cover can compare multi-bike quotes all in one place, saving you time and hassle. Visit entirecoverinsurance.co.uk, ensuring life's adventures big and small.
Safety, stability, and security are paramount when it comes to the TT. They're also key to the exceptional international financial solutions we provide at RL360. We've sponsored the Superstock race since 2002, making RL360 the longest-running TT sponsor. And like the TT, RL360 is delighted to call the Isle of Man home while showcasing the island on an international stage. RL360, for life's financial journey.
Metzeler Motorcycle Tyres, the official tyre of the TT. Metzeler tyres are designed, developed and tested in the most extreme environments and the toughest settings, including the Isle of Man TT course. Whether you ride on road, off-road or on track, Metzeler has a tyre for you. See the Metzeler range at the TT Grandstand or find your perfect tyre with our tyre configurator online at metzeler.com. Metzeler Motorcycle Tyres, the official tyre of the TT.
Conditions not ideal then around the mountain course, but we are set to start qualifying 2 at TT 2024, just under 4 minutes away. Let's get down to where the action is. Chris Kinley.
Yeah, we're in a little area known as No Man's Land, and it says on the course information board for this evening, damp patches, Glen Helen exit, Kerramore, the hairpin to Waterworks 1, also the 27th milestone, and very damp in the nook at Governor's Dip. Just going to bring Jenny Timothy and on this one as well, who's over there with Beth down at the start line. Jen, what are these guys and girls going to be looking at this evening on this lap? They'll take notice of that board. And obviously there's going to be other places as well that they're going to think about as well. What do you reckon the feeling's going to be?
I think just going to take it steady. I think they had such a good time yesterday that there's no point pushing anything tonight. You know, they just got to suss out the conditions and obviously go extremely steady over the damp patches. Obviously, most of them are running slicks, so there's no tread on the tyres at all. So as soon as you hit a tiny bit of a damp patch, you know, the thing will spin up. So it's a case of keeping the bike as straight as possible and running over those damp patches. So this first lap will definitely be more of a sighting lap, just to suss out where exactly the damp patches are and where, like Don was saying, to keep out of the curbs. And McGuinness, obviously very experienced, he was saying, you know, he's had such a good run out yesterday, there's no need to be pushing anything tonight. So, I mean, it might get drier yet, mightn't it? So the conditions might come to them a little bit, but see how it goes.
We just said that up there a few minutes ago, just after I finished speaking to, I think it was Michael Rutter, said to you, it's got a little bit warmer, isn't it? That little bit of breeze just dropped, the temperature lifted quite a bit.
Yeah, you can feel it, can't you? Because there was a little bit of rain in there, and it did go cooler up here, but it has actually just lifted, like you say, it is a little bit warmer. So, yeah, and there's quite a lot of blue sky around us, so conditions, I think, are still going to improve, aren't they? There was a threat of a little bit of rain, but hopefully that's gone away, and yeah, everything will be perfect, hopefully.
Is it going to be number one, John McGuinness, that comes to the line? He did 127.646 last night. Jamie Coward, 127.321 off at number 2. Dean Harrison, third, 125.909. James Hillier on number 5 at 125.752. No lap on the Superbike yet for Ian Hutchinson. Michael Dunlop, 129.59. He's quickest. At number 7, Josh Brooks, 123.856. And Davey Todd is second position for the number 8 machine at 129.575. So I think we're just hearing information from the clerk of the course, which we'll get officially from the guys up there in the tower. Chris Boyd has the info.
Yes, Gary Thompson, the clerk of the course, just telling the Glen Crutchy Road assembled grid that there are showers popping up around the place, so they want to go and assess conditions again. He's asked for 5 minutes. If we can give him 5, he appreciates that the riders and teams have been up on Glen Crutchy Road for sort of half an hour now waiting. He's asked for just another 5 minutes while they just assess conditions. So we're back into another holding pattern, Lee.
Yeah, and one of the things that people don't really think about, definitely not the poor people that are stood on the side of the road on the hedge, is that these riders have gone through a warm-up procedure. They've got warm, they've stretched, and that's probably 45 minutes ago. So if you do go now, stuff like this used to not frustrate me, but yeah, you've warmed up. And the guys were talking about earlier about having sore muscles and being aching already from last night, so you're already a little bit stiff, and the last thing then you need to do is set off down Bray Hill. But obviously it's no one's fault other than the weather, and Gary does a really good job. He's just said now that he's going to give a definitive answer in 5 minutes time, so either which way we're going to go or not go in 5 minutes.
We've had these nights, experienced competitors, and all of us that have been working on the TT for many years, we know these kind of nights. We remember back to 2019 when the weather just didn't play ball at all the way through the 2 weeks. And you do get those TTs, and we get the TTs, the great TTs like last year, 2018, 2016, that were perfect sunshine, and you just have to roll with it, don't you?
Yeah, and that's all part of the challenge. It's like the good TTs, like last year, obviously I wasn't here, but there was guys that were ready to race come Wednesday or Thursday, and they were nearly tired or done by the time it come to racing the motorbike. So that has a negative effect as well as the awesome positive for some people. So yeah, it's no matter what happens, there's going to be someone that's not happy about with the way the conditions are. So yeah, hopefully we're going to get some laps in tonight and yeah, get another session underway.
That's what we want, isn't it? We just want to get some action. And I guess there's a sense of deflation down there on the start line, is there, Chris and Beth? Just a sort of asking for a little bit more time sort of suggests that said decisions need to be made here.
Do you know, we've stayed down at the start line a bit because I wanted to have a little look at some of the other times and things. Do you know what? And it doesn't feel dejected at all, because I think everybody, when they woke up this morning, eventually, when people woke up this morning, they kind of looked, I said, do you know what? And this is a bonus. If they get to go and do a lap tonight, a complete and utter bonus. But I want to look at the newcomers. All right, Patrick Hoff, the newcomer last night, number 63, 115.173, Jen, on the off. And Kevin Keyes didn't get a lap in on the big bike. We heard Milky say, I think he froze, I think something like that from what. Just explain what that means, Jen, to the listeners around the circuit, what that means when the rider gets to the line. Yeah. And just exactly explain what it is.
It's just, I think, because this place is such an assault to senses, so to speak, and just trying to take it all in. You know, I spoke to Milky before, and he was saying, Kevin just had a bit of a moment where he was a bit overwhelmed by the whole thing, and that he did say, he froze a little bit, but, you know, Milky's so experienced, and he's able to talk him through it. You know, he's had a night's sleep on it now, so hopefully he would have been able to process all the information that he took in yesterday, and he'll feel better tonight. But like you say, he would like to get out there, I'm sure, and get some laps under his belt.
Absolutely. Man did the old days when he was on an early morning practice at 10 to 5, get ready to go for the first practice here in the freezing cold. That's a different world. Kevin Keyes did get a lap on the Supersport bike, 104.434. Loris Majkan, I think, well, that's close enough. He didn't get a lap on his 600, unfortunately. And just over the pages, because we've got the little bit of breeze going. Thank you very much. We'll go to the sidecars, because we have our sidecar aficionado with us. That's a good one, isn't it? That'll be you. That'll be you. Pat France isn't here tonight.
Sure.
No, it's you, Mucky. I've got
to.
Hey, Pat. You tell you what, he's good, Pat. Pat's a good lad, really. He didn't go and buy the tea though, like Jenny Timothy did last night. Jenny bought the tea last night, so we're cold. What about that lap though for Alan Founds and Rhys Gibbons last night? Obviously, again, the relative thing going on there. 110.49. That's a big jump for what Rhys has ever done before, isn't it?
Yeah, it is huge. Well, he's a newcomer, isn't he, Rhys?
Yeah.
So brilliant showing from him. I called around earlier on actually to see Alan, and some people have said to him, "Well, that's a bit much." And I looked at him a bit like you just looked at me, Chris, and thought, "Well, if he's happy and you're happy, of course it's not too much." You know, the lad's keen and he's fit and he's strong and he's done all his own work, and you know, you do want to be finding that sort of speed, because I could tell you from experience, I did that parade lap last year, for example, with Rob Fisher and Molly. Absolutely amazing. But I think we're only circulating about 106 mile an hour lap, and it beat me to death. It was horrible. So
why was it horrible? Explain why it was horrible.
Because you're hitting every single bump.
You're not gliding.
You're not gliding.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and as soon as you get going a bit, you skim over one and skim over another. But when you're going steady, it's hard work. They do the speed control laps, and yes, it needs to be done, but they are more harrowing than when you actually set off on your own. But no, I think it was brilliant showing from the lads, and hopefully they get to go again. But another good showing was definitely Callum and Ryan. You know, they come out of the box swinging. They were comfortable. I stood up on the monster tower down there and watched the bikes go away, and it was like it was Thursday night for them lads. They just set off really comfy, really happy. Callum dropped straight into the bike. You know, he was just at home again, and that's good to see.
I think it was Chris Boyd mentioned that when he came through on one of the laps, when he went through the final lap, you couldn't see him. You did not know he was in that. What would you call? What can we call it? Just
we call it a platform.
Platform. That's the word. I couldn't think of the word then. I was just going to say a tray, but that's not right. It's a platform, isn't it?
That's what you carry tea on.
Is it tea?
Or
Speaking
beer.
of tea, well, beer. Now you're talking. Now we're in. Anyway, yeah, you could, because he's quite a tall lad, isn't he? Really, and he just got himself tucked right in there.
Anybody to use tall.
Yeah,
come on.
hang on, you're not much further, are you?
Oh, that's true.
It is.
No, he's quite a long lad, yeah. But no, he disappears on that bike, and that's you need to do that round here. You need to be able to do that, because you know you sat there with your head up or your shoulders in the wind. It causes a load of fatigue. It absolutely ruins you. You can't fight that wind for all that time at that speed. And B, it just makes the bike more aerodynamic. You know, you're tucked up, you're out of the way. Going up like somewhere like the Mountain Mile, you can actually hear the revs dropping if you're sat up in the wind having a look, you know, seeing which way you're going. So to keep the best performance and the best aerodynamics, you've got to get buried and get out of the way.
I think Patrick was saying last night about the wind tunnel stuff that your brother's been doing and others have been doing as well. That's quite revolutionary, because normally F1 cars, GT cars do all that, but there's been a lot of work gone on in the background, hasn't there?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it has to move on, doesn't it? And the bike last year when we did them 120-mile-an-hour laps, if you've seen on the TV, there's some big wheelies and some big jumps, you know. So to try and just curb that a little bit and keep the thing a little bit more, let's say, compliant, the other avenues have to be explored. And it's creeping in everywhere now. I mean, we made quite a big change with the bodywork for 22, and it worked, it helped. So we carried that on into 23, and Ben's been busy doing more development work. But it comes down to budget, I'll say that. You know, you're taking a bike into a wind tunnel, you need some budget, and you need a load of options, because you only get a certain amount of time when you're in there. So you need options for what you're going to try and achieve. But it does need exploring a bit further, and for sure that's the way to go, because, you know, aerodynamics on these bikes, they're only running 600cc engines, they're shoving a lot through the air. They need some help.
They do. All right. Just going to pop back to Chris Boyd, just some information from Race Control.
We're just waiting. We're just hearing Gary Thompson addressing the crews now, and it sounds like the session has maybe been abandoned. We're just waiting for definitive word. He did say there'd been a sharp shower just popped up on the mountain. There was another sharp shower popping up elsewhere on the course, and he felt that we were going to be in this pattern of just showers running through the evening, and therefore safety comes first. And it looks, from the way that the machines are being wheeled away from Glencrutchery Road, that we have been abandoned. We're still waiting on the definitive word from Race Control just to come through. It is indeed session abandoned here at 7:01 p.m. We are not, unfortunately, going to see any action on the mountain course tonight. And when you think about it, Lee, with the stop, start, a decision's made, and at least everybody knows, and we can move on to tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's better for the riders and the teams. Well, not better in the sense that they're not getting laps, but just a nice, clean-cut decision. And obviously, it's not safe with showers coming in like that. And Gary says there's more forecast. So, yeah, it's a little bit frustrating, but Chris made a good point earlier that the guys weren't expecting to get any laps tonight after the weather we've had today. So it was a little bit of a positive go this evening, but I don't think, honestly, anyone was expecting to get any laps come dinner time today anyway. So, yeah, it's still a little bit frustrating, but it's just one of them things.
You'll be able to get your podcasts and your daily updates and all done nice and early, and maybe get to a bar somewhere.
Oh, yeah, I doubt that very much, but yeah, the way
they work you hard here at TT, don't they?
Yeah, unfortunately, the staff that I'm working with aren't at all as prompt as you guys are in here. So yeah, we could be waiting for another 2 hours on Pritchard that I'm doing the podcast with. So yeah, I don't think I'll get an early night yet.
Chris, if you're listening, just going back to the podcast last night, Lee takes you